As the world's attention shifted toward Moscow, Victory Day approached with its usual ceremony. But this year, an extraordinary arrival changed everything. A Russian jet touched down. The cabin door opened. Out stepped a young African president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. No suit, no tie. He wore full military gear, rifle slung over his shoulder, pistol at his side. The Kremlin runway fell silent. Flags fluttered. Cameras clicked. Onlookers froze. This wasn't just another leader stepping off a plane. This was a statement, a challenge to the old world order. He didn't arrive through routine channels, no commercial airline, no Burkina Faso state jet. Instead, a special Russian aircraft flew him in, signaling something far more calculated. The Burkinabe presidency simply said, "President of the transition arrived Thursday in Moscow." But what followed was far from ordinary. From the moment he touched Russian soil, his presence stunned the world. Because this wasn't just a visit, it was history being made. No other African leader had ever appeared like this. And the message was clear. He came not as a guest, but as a partner. Traoré's clothing sent a clear message before he even said a word. He didn't wear a formal suit. Instead, he showed up in military clothes that stood for revolution. His shirt had ribbons on the chest, Burkina Faso flag badges, and shiny medals. His strong build filled out the army jacket, which had gold shoulder decorations. On one arm he wore a red, green, and yellow band, showing pride in his country. This was the outfit of a man who took power by force and was ready to keep fighting to hold it. People noticed. He even had a gun in a belt holder at his waist, something that had already made headlines when he showed up with it at a meeting in Ghana in January 2025. In Moscow, the gun showing under his jacket became a sign of how bold he was. In a world of well-dressed politicians, Traoré showed up like a soldier, making it clear he wasn't there to fit in, but to stand his ground. The son of Africa in the crowd. As Traoré stepped out onto Red Square during the big Soviet Victory Day event, people quickly gathered around him. Africans living in Russia and curious locals pushed and squeezed to catch a look at him. One pro-Russian media outlet said it clearly. Burkina Faso's President Traoré drew crowds of excited Africans and foreigners in Moscow. Everyone wanted a photo with the son of Africa. Within minutes of his arrival, dozens of people were trying to shake his hand, take pictures, or put on him the black and orange St. George's ribbons that stand for Russia's victory. One moment, almost funny because of how excited people were, showed him standing calmly while a group of fans rushed to take selfies. The joy was spreading fast. Taxi drivers stopped their cars to wave, and even old Russian soldiers gave him a sharp salute and a big smile. For many people watching, this strong and down-to-earth West African captain brought something fresh and powerful to the usual Victory Day events. Handshakes at a Kremlin banquet. That evening, Traoré sat in a special seat at a fancy Kremlin dinner. Photographers later shared a picture of a smiling Vladimir Putin shaking Traoré's hand after a dinner in honor of the heads of foreign delegations attending the upcoming Victory Day celebrations. The two had met at a formal meal with old Soviet-style caviar and vodka, a big difference from the tough, basic life Traoré faced back home. That night, the serious military leader became one of Putin's respected guests, sitting close to other global figures like China's Xi Jinping. The beauty and luxury of the Kremlin dining room felt worlds apart from the rough military bases in Ouagadougou, making the moment feel almost unreal. The photo of Traoré and Putin raising their glasses to friendship quickly spread online, marking a new chapter in Russia-Africa ties. Brother leaders on parade. As the famous Victory Day military parade rumbled by in Red Square, Captain Traoré stood on the reviewing stand beside Putin, Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe, Abbas, Palestine, and others. The sight of Burkinabe camouflage amid this distinguished company was widely remarked upon. Burkina State News noted with pride that Traoré walked behind the grand array of tanks and troops, witnessing as Russian soldiers marched past with T-90 tanks and Sukhoi jets overhead. When African heads were conspicuously absent, the Burkinabe presence seemed even larger. Analysts pointed out the symbolism. Here was a leader who used to be a rebellious army captain, now an honored guest among the globe's powerful. It underscored how dramatically Traoré had transformed Burkina Faso's international standing from a remote Sahel state to a visible force on Moscow's stage. A seat at the world table. By the end of his trip, Traoré ended up in a surprising group. Photos shared on May 10 showed him standing beside President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, President Abbas of Palestine, and the presidents of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, all gathered under the Russian flag. In the Kremlin's official message, they were called the heads of foreign delegations honored during Victory Day. For many people watching, the scene was unexpected. An African army captain in uniform, standing confidently with leaders from Asia, the Middle East, and regions involved in long-running conflicts from the old Soviet Union. It showed the beginning of a new group of non-Western countries coming together in Red Square. Traoré's black gloves and the red flags made it feel like the world's power map was changing in that moment. The message from Moscow in 2025 was clear. Burkina Faso, a small but bold country, had claimed its spot on the world stage, standing side by side with other rising powers. Traoré's fast-moving week in Moscow will be remembered for a long time. Was it a strong show of independence or a risky move? Many African watchers say it was both. He left Burkina Faso with stories to inspire his people, marching in Russian style, eating sea bass, and standing in the impressive halls of the Kremlin, showing clearly that the time of following Paris is over. At the same time, some Western experts warned that giving so much support to Russia might have a cost, becoming too dependent or facing new outside control. But everyone agrees. This visit showed a high level of trust between Traoré's military government and Moscow, built on their shared fight against colonial control. The pictures of Traoré in Red Square have already created a clear message. Captain Traoré, once a little-known African soldier, stood at the center of world politics in 2025. Only time will show where this Russia-Burkina Faso relationship goes. But for now, it has clearly changed the story of the Sahel and global diplomacy on Victory Day. From this moment on, what do you think about Ibrahim Traoré's achievements and his strategic plan to connect with powerful world leaders beyond Western influence? Thanks for watching. I wish you better life, foods, and money. Stay in the Big Wins family.